Right now at 11, residents forced to jump out of windows to escape the flames, and new tonight, authorities have made an arrest.
Figure out what would compel somebody to do something like this.
Plus, layoffs skyrocket at one of Oregon's largest employers. We're learning tonight about the big cuts at Intel that just got a whole lot bigger. But first,
they're givers. They're not takers. They're the kind of people you want in society.
Why American authorities say they detained an Oregon mother and her children at the Canadian border. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. That Portland mom and her 4 young kids were detained in Washington after U.S. border agents picked them up during a visit with family friends, say, at a park that reaches across the 49th parallel. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom. So, Alma, walk us through what you've learned here.
Yeah, David, we heard today from Congresswoman Maxine Dexter and a close friend of the family. They say 2 weeks ago, Jackie Merlos, who's originally from Honduras, went up to Peace Arch Park with her mom and her children. It's a place they'd visited in the past, specifically to see her sister, who lives in Canada. But that trip took a turn, and they've been in custody ever since.
A mother and her 4 U.S. citizen children from my district have been in an inhumane situation.
Congresswoman Maxine Dexter calling out U.S. Customs and Border Protection outside a facility in the small city of Ferndale, Washington.
She's been denied access to counsel. She's been denied access to her U.S. representative. If we accept that citizen children can be taken without cause, without due process, that mothers can be disappeared across state lines, we surrender our democracy.
That mother, Jackie Merlos, her mom, and 4 children traveled up to a well-known meeting spot on the U.S.-Canadian border, Peace Arch Park.
For years, people have used it as kind of a neutral area where they can see friends and family.
But that meeting with her sister ended in detention. Here's Mimi Letnich, close friend and guardian to Merlos' children.
Her sister, who's a Canadian citizen, stepped over the line when she was saying goodbye.
Following that fateful farewell on June 28th, Mimi says Border Patrol approached, arresting Merlos, detaining her and her kids. Days later, she says ICE picked up Merlos' husband, Carlos, in Portland, taking him to the facility in Tacoma.
They're the kind of people you want in society. They're the people that, you're lucky enough to have as friends.
But a Customs and Border Protection spokesperson claims the mother was arrested for trying to smuggle, quote, illegal aliens into the U.S. In a statement, they added her children were present during the smuggling attempt, and she requested the children remain with her during detention. Len Saunders, an immigration attorney in Blaine, Washington, weighed in on the detention.
Something doesn't add up here. It doesn't add up that a mom would bring her 4 American kids if she was trying to help smuggle aliens into this country. So I'd be interested to know what the final details are and if Homeland Security is being honest here and upfront.
Saunders also told me that this Ferndale facility, it isn't meant for lengthy stays. The family's attorney says while Jackie isn't a citizen, she's applied for a special kind of visa and those documents are pending. The attorney also says she's not been charged with any crime. David?
As someone who's visited that park many times, safe to say there are still a lot of questions. Thanks, Alma. New tonight, a fire that started in a dumpster in northwest Portland quickly spread this evening with a plume of smoke visible from several miles away. This was at an abandoned commercial property off Northwest Eon. Authorities say the fire burned through some supplies as well as grass and bushes, but did not spread to any buildings. Fire investigators say it appears some people were camping on the property. In an update tonight, a man has been arrested accused of starting this fire at his own East Portland apartment building. Sean Swartz faces arson, reckless endangering, and criminal mischief charges. Investigators say he lived at the complex, and tonight the landlord tells us 6 units are a total loss, leaving at least a dozen people without homes. 8 people had to be rescued from the structure on East Burnside and 104th, and some told us they jumped out of their windows in order to escape. 2 people were hospitalized with burns, one with a broken ankle from jumping. Here is one resident who told us he woke up to someone yelling, "Fire."
It was like you kind of had to just run for your life. It was the hottest I've ever experienced. It was an inferno. It was really scary. Trying to run past the flames I got a little bit scalded here on my arm and on my neck.
Portland Fire has not said exactly how that fire was started, but once again, a suspect, a resident of the building, they say, has now been charged with arson. Well, news about layoffs at one of Oregon's largest employers has just gone from bad to worse. In an updated WARN notice, Intel says nearly 2,400 Oregon employees will be laid off on Tuesday. That's up from the 530 we first reported. The layoffs will impact 4 campuses in Aloha and Hillsborough. Earlier this week, we talked with Washington County Chair, who says this could ripple beyond Silicon Forest and across the state.
Those employees are no longer paying the state income tax, which has a ripple effect through all of our state because of those state income taxes go to fund school districts elsewhere in our state. They go to fund, prisons and all kinds of health and human services.
Intel announced last month it plans to reduce its worldwide factory workforce by 15 to 20% because of financial challenges. Okay, let's give you a live look outside on this Friday. 74 degrees in the Rose City after a relatively warm summer day, though turns out in a few days' time, looks like it's about to get even hotter. Celine Stevens is in for Matt tonight with an update on our weather impact alert. Celine?
David, definitely. It's only going to get hotter as we get into this weekend and then into the following week. But like you said, right now, temperatures are feeling nice and mild. We're sitting at 74 degrees. Those winds only going at 9 miles per hour. It's a really calm and, again, mild night. And temperatures across the map are feeling really comfortable. We're sitting at 75 in Troutdale, 72 degrees in Hillsborough, 75 in Vancouver. Other areas down south seeing 70 in Eugene, 69 in Corvallis. Along the coast, a lot cooler as always, seeing those temperatures in the 50s, 50 in Newport, 55 degrees in Tillamook. And we've been trending warm all day compared to this time yesterday. Same story even right now. Portland 6 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Earlier it was around a 10 degree temperature difference. Looks like 8 degrees warmer right now in Vancouver than this time yesterday. Only areas that were cooler was along the coast. They're seeing temperatures actually going down. That said, as we get into this weekend, a lot of places are going to see those temperatures heating up. And so here's what we're looking at for the next couple of days. We're seeing upper 80s tomorrow, mid 90s come Sunday. We're dealing with a heat advisory. Monday back to the 80s, but then after that, we have a weather impact alert because Wednesday, Thursday, temperatures get up to the upper 90s. We have a potential to see triple digits. And of course, that does come with some heat risks. So we'll break it all down in a little bit. Back to you.
Yeah, here comes the heat. See you in a few, Celine. Developing tonight, newly released body camera video raises questions about how a man died while being arrested by Portland police. The video shows the man being held face down and handcuffed for about 4 minutes. A warning, parts of this are both disturbing and graphic. Investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi takes a look.
The video begins with Portland police officers responding to a welfare check. On June 27th, they'd been called to a North Portland apartment. Witnesses reported a man acting erratically, flooding his apartment with water and hanging knives outside the window. Shortly after arriving on scene, officers tried to calm 52-year-old Damon Lamar Johnson. After about 4 minutes, officers tried to take Johnson into custody on a mental health-related police officer hold.
Don't resist or force will be used against you. Do you understand? Hey, stop. Okay, all right. That's fine. Yeah, take a bite.
The video shows Johnson resist and struggle with 3 officers. At 10:31, police got him into handcuffs.
There we go.
Johnson would remain in the same position, face down in handcuffs. At least one officer restricted his movement.
Just take a breath. Breathe. You're okay.
At 10:35, officers questioned whether he was breathing. Johnson had been restrained in the same position for 4 minutes.
Is he breathing? Damon. Hey, Damon. Hey, where are the paramedics at? Put him in recovery. Hey, turn him on his side.
Medics arrived and provided CPR before Johnson was transported to the hospital, where he died. The video appears to mirror a pattern of in-custody deaths, where a person is in the prone position, lying on their stomach facing down, while being handcuffed. In 2022, our affiliate station in Denver documented 132 prone restraint deaths across the country, costing taxpayers millions of dollars in wrongful death settlements and verdicts. When asked about prone restraint and whether officers should have turned Johnson on his side earlier, Portland Police Chief Bob Day explained.
Obviously, we do teach the recovery position. We do talk about medical care and making sure that they're, getting proper medical care. It would be speculative for me to say whether or not there was a time or a place for him to be put in the recovery position.
Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
You know, important to note here, the medical examiner is investigating and has not provided an official cause or manner of death. New tonight, a woman who lives near the South Portland ICE facility in the near nightly protest is now suing the city because of the noise. Well, sirens like that, along with bullhorn messages from protesters, are among the noises Cloud Elvengrail says are making it torture, her word, to stay in her home. She lives in low-income housing just across the street. The noises, according to the lawsuit, have been happening well into the night and for weeks, and the plaintiff even believes her hearing has been damaged.
She's not saying that people shouldn't be able to stand out there and wave their signs and have, you know, supportive honks every now and then come through. That's not what this is. She wants the weaponized noise to stop. She wants the city of Portland to come in and do their job.
Well, the lawsuit asks the city to enforce its noise laws and increase police presence in the area during protests. We've reached out to the city for comment, but have not yet heard back.